My name is Amy Graham. I'm a speech language pathologist, and I'm the author of the Lateralization deck from Bjorem Speech. This deck is meant to be used for children who have lateral lisps or lateralized distortions of sounds like S and Z, SH, CH, and the J sound. When children have a lateral lisp, their sounds sound very slushy because the air is escaping laterally over the sides of the tongue rather than down the center of the tongue. So instead of S, an S might sound like sh, and instead of sh, the SH sound might sound like CH, ch, might also sound like ch, where you can just hear that slushiness. And so this deck was developed to help SLPs and even some parents help kids produce a non-lateralized or a clearer version of those sounds. The way that we do that is by using two types of cueing, and I'll describe how those are implemented in this deck. So the first type of cueing that we use is called phonetic shaping, where we take a sound that the child is producing correctly that's very similar in placement to the target sound we want to teach them. So for example, the S sound, we want the sides of the tongue to go up against the inside of the molar so that air can't escape over the side. Another sound that does that naturally is the T sound. T. When we say the T sound, the sides of the tongue are anchored up against the insides of the molars. So we can take the T sound and we use the cue of the clock sound t, 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 to produce that T over and over again. And then once you do that, once a child has established accuracy for T, we can ask them to simply hold out that T sound, t, t, t. And that allows them to produce a non-lateralized S that we call the flat tire sound, which leads me into my next type of cue that is used to help kids elicit these sounds, and that's called cognitive reframing. Basically, what we're telling them is we're coming at this problem from a different angle. We're not trying to fix your S sound. We're actually just trying to create a new sound altogether, which is why we have the cue for their old S sound, which is represented by a snake. It's a common reference that we use for S. And I have an X through it because I'm not trying to fix the way that you say S. I'm trying to help you produce this new sound. And what it does is it creates this dichotomy between the old version or the distorted version and this new version that we're trying to teach. What happens is it allows kids, older kids, to free those muscle memory patterns that they have so associated with S, where they just naturally want to go for the S sound. And it allows them to think about this in a new way as a new sound. And so I have seen this also help my kids immediately start to self-correct because they know when they hear, oh, that's not what we're working on. We're actually working on this new flat tire sound. We can also use this idea of cognitive reframing and phonetic shaping for other sounds that children lateralize that are included in this deck, like the CH sound. If a child says and that has that distorted version of CH, we can also use the clock sound t, 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 and just ask them to protrude their lips while they produce it, ch, 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 and that produces our new spray bottle sound because, again, we're using the correct tongue placement of the T sound, t, but just rounding our lips ch, to produce our new sound, and we're drawing the distinction between our new non-lateralized sound and the old distorted CH sound that they're producing. The same concepts are used for eliciting the SH sound as well too. So the child would produce SH in a very lateralized way. So we have that quiet sound represented here with the X through it, and we remind them that we're not working on SH. We're not trying to fix SH. We're creating a new sound. And we can do that by starting with the S sound if we've remediated that or if they already have an accurate S. And we just, similarly to the CH, we teach lip protrusion while they produce the S, and that turns into our closer approximation of a non-lateralized S, which is the windy sound. And when I say closer approximation, I mean it might sound a little bit like an S, but over time in therapy, that almost always generalizes to a really good sh, more of a palatal SH. What we're looking for, though, is just zero lateralization. If we hear lateralization at all, I know that that child is thinking of the sound as this. So we bring this up and remind them, no, we're not practicing your SH. We're practicing the windy sound. And if we need to go back and remind them, let's start back with S again. and just round your lips for that, that's what we do. There are also sound cues in this deck for the voice versions of these sounds, like the Z sound, Z, or the J sound as well too. But the bulk of this deck also helps you carry over these newly learned elicitation skills that you've taught these kids into word level positions. So for example, in the S sound, if you're teaching that S to shape it from a T sound, we immediately go into final TS words. Hats, bats, and there's multiple cards that show that. Once that's well established, once the child can produce a flat tire sound in those words really easily, we can start looking at different word positions. So we have words like saw, sock. There are also word cues for the other sounds that kids lateralize. So in different word positions. So final CH, rich, itch. So they can practice using those skills at the word position, or even beginning word position for SH, shy, shock. I hope that clearly explains how you can use this lateralization deck to help your kids who do have a lateral lisp, those lateral distortions, using these concepts of phonetic shaping, which has been around a while, but more importantly, incorporating this idea of cognitive reframing, where we're not trying to fix your old sound or fix the sound that you know how to do. We're actually trying to teach you a new sound and then replace it as we practice and as you start to generalize that skill into their conversational speech.